The risk is high, and the problem keeps getting worse regarding those young people who drink alcohol illegally. Dr. Stuart Brown, former director of the Division of Public Health for Georgia, says, and I quote, "Underage drinking is a serious problem in Georgia and across the nation," end quote. Research shows that underage drinking is more prevalent than using drugs or smoking. I can attest to that. When I was a teenager, I started drinking heavily by the time I was 17 years old. My mother never knew, or at least I thought she did not know, until she pulled a trick on me that my father's mother pulled on him when he was a teenager. I had come home from a long night with my friends, and when I woke up the next morning, after hugging the porcelain goddess, I walked down the hall of my apartment and smelled the food that my mother was preparing. The next thing I knew, I was back in the bathroom hugging that porcelain goddess. She did this to me 2 other times. During the last time she did this to me, my mother walked in and said to me, "Alex, I hope this will teach you a lesson on drinking. Even though you come in while I am asleep, I still know what goes on." From that day forward and to this day, I've never touched a drink again. The 2002 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, administered by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration, found that 10.7 million young people aged 12 to 20 reported that they drank alcohol within a 30-day period. Senator Mike DeWine of Ohio writes, and I quote, "We all know that underage drinking is a significant problem for youth in this country. We have really known this for a long time. We have known that underage drinking often contributes to the 4 leading causes of death among 15 to 20-year-olds. That 69% of young people who died in alcohol-related traffic fatalities in the year 2000 alone involved young drinkers. That in 1999, nearly 40% of people under the age of 21 who were victims of drowning, burns, and falls tested positive for alcohol. In 2006, that same survey administered by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration found that there were 10.8 million young people aged 12 to 20 reported drinking alcohol during a 30-day period. The figure that stuck out to me was the fact that 12-year-olds were included in that survey. Also, during my research, I was curious to see what the 2010 survey had in store. Unfortunately, either the survey has not been conducted yet, or they have decided to not do one for that year, or for this year. Once again, the risk is high, and the problem keeps getting worse regarding those young people who drink illegally. Officials from DHR, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration, and the Georgia Council on Alcohol and Drugs agree that children and teenagers are less likely to abuse alcohol if their parents were to get involved in their children's lives and make clear the rules and standards for a positive living and be role models for their children. So many times I have seen the devastating effects of what alcohol can do to adults. Imagining what those same effects can do to young people is disconcerting. Thankfully, I was not a product of parents who were alcoholics. However, I have a friend who was such a product, and I could see how his life was turned upside down by the choices he made as a teenager, because he had no parental role model to tell him not to drink. I am still friends with him today, and I'm glad I was able to help him with his problem as he was able to help me with mine a few years later. Just for research purposes, I wanted to see if there was debatable information that says that young people should be able to drink. And here's what I found. I found that there is no, quote, federal legal drinking age in the United States. Joseph Carroll writes in his article, "The minimum legal drinking age has not always been consistent in this country," end quote. Many states do not ban minors from drinking. They do, however, set certain conditions, such as its use in religious ceremony or in the presence of a parent. The main reason that states have agreed to set the legal drinking age at 21 is because Congress passed a law in 1984 that will withhold 10% of highway funds from states to set a lower drinking age limit. The current law has forced use to hide and sneak alcohol, which means lawmakers and responsible adults have no control over underage drinking. I have found that there is still a heated debate about whether each state should lower the legal drinking age from 21 to 18. An article posted on a drug treatment website states, and I quote, "In recent months, supporters in a number of states have pushed ballot initiatives to lower the drinking age. Do not get me wrong, I am by no means saying that there will be no more teenage alcoholics. The risk is high, and the problem keeps getting worse regarding those young people who drink alcohol illegally."